Hi, welcome to Sunrise Extra on your Tuesday.
Good
look
morning.
Inside the KGW newsroom at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday. Hey, we are talking about new streaming services and movies and TV to watch because every day there's more and more content out there.
Choices.
No longer is Netflix the monopoly. So Disney Plus launches today. It's already crashed. People are trying to log into it and it's not opening up for them. But Disney Plus opening up, there is going to be no more vault, you know, for like all the old classic movies. It's all on there already, along with Star Wars content. What other
all the
stuff?
classic Disney movies are on this channel?
Yes, all the ones that haven't been released.
Snow White
in
and the
years.
Seven Dwarfs?
Yeah, that's on there. Fantasia.
That's a
on
classic.
There. Little Mermaid on there.
Wow.
Little Mermaid was one of my favorites. So it's $7 a month. Netflix, its most popular subscription is about $12.99 a month. So NBC is launching a new app soon, streaming service called the Peacock, which will have specific shows that will not air on our channel.
Okay.
So it's only for the Peacock app.
Peacock-specific programming.
Exactly. So this is, and HBO Max now is launching their, we had
I'll tell you
HBO
what.
Go, HBO Now.
I've got,
HBO Max.
HBO is the one like cable pay channel I do have, and it's free for the next 6 months, so that's why we'll still have it. But it's like there's 9 HBO channels already. They all stink. Every time I go there, I'm like, you know what? I'll just go watch something on HBO. No, I won't. There's nothing on there. But they're going to have another channel with more
I
programming.
know, but
It's kind of more on demand. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have Amazon Prime. I've got like this little deal through Amazon Prime for a little Showtime because I like Homeland.
How do you get that?
Well, you look it up. It's out there. But I don't watch enough to justify adding more and more and more.
Yeah.
You know, dozens and dozens, and I've never even looked at any of those movies. I don't care about them. I don't care about the shows. So I feel like my cable bill is already too high just through Comcast, and I start tacking on all these little. You people need to get a la carte. That's what the cable companies need, and just let me.
They're going to
buy
have
what
to do
I
something
need.
because everyone is fleeing
Agreed.
from there. But I mean, I think NBC News did a great service last week. They did a story on all these streaming services, and they actually put out the cost of like what the typical cable bill is, which is like $102 plus the cost of internet. And then they, for the cord cutters, they did the price of, okay, if you have Netflix and Hulu plus the price of internet to get that, you're paying the exact same amount as you did when you had cable, but you cut the cable to change the price. So we're asking, are you guys going to change your subscriptions now that there's more options? Rod, you are a cable guy.
So you know what this reminds me of, though? 'Cause this is a changing landscape now with all of these, all the companies that used to be carried by like Dish or DirecTV or Comcast now saying, we want our own. So people are going to be paying a la carte individual prices for these streaming services, right? Well, it reminds me, and you'd think, well, it's maybe cheaper, but it reminds me of when we first went to cell phones and you thought, boy, no charge for long distance, this is going to be cheaper. Look how much more we spend on phones now than we did 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid this is going to turn out to a lot of the Americans' families are going to have 10 streaming services, and someday down the road they're going to be paying more for all their streaming services than they paid when they complained about the $200 cable bill.
Yeah,
It's funny, you made me think of something I hadn't thought of in a long time. I guess 30 years. I forgot that we used to pay extra to call long distance.
I know, right?
And we had family in New Jersey. We lived in Philadelphia, and my mom was like, who are you calling? Are you calling Aunt Colleen?
Yeah, you better make
that's
sure,
long distance.
yeah.
No, send her a letter.
Yeah. Ryan Moon is weighing in this morning.
Hey, Ryan, he's a good, loyal viewer.
He is.
Love
So
that.
is Jeff Lucas, right? So
Yes.
Jeff Lucas, pretty simple
Jeff.
comment this morning from Jeff. He says, too confusing.
Yeah.
Kind of with you on that boat.
So are you guys going to just stick with Netflix? Most people have Netflix. You just got
But Netflix is going to be winding down. They're going to be losing more and more of their properties as more and more of the shows that they've
Get
been
their own
carrying, those
stream.
individual companies say, no, we're stepping out on our own.
Yep. Now it's going to be
I
more
mean, if I had
expensive.
Netflix stock, if that's the thing, I'd be dumping that in a hurry.
Ryan Moon is the gentleman whose comment originally caught my eye. Ryan says, actually, the Roku is great. He says you can stream many movie
people
channels for
talk about
free.
that, yeah.
Plus, you can add hundreds of other services like Hulu, Netflix, sports channels, etc. I literally haven't watched cable TV in a year, says Ryan Moon.
And then Kendra says, not true. I pay less for streaming and internet than I did cable. I just shopped my internet around.
Who do you use, Kendra,
Yes.
at this point? I'd like to know who
We
you
switched to
use.
CenturyLink.
Yes.
And do you like that?
It's like
little bit cheaper?
$56 a month. Yeah, because we
For
cut
basic stuff?
Comcast, and
Yeah.
so we have CenturyLink internet, and then My mom lets us use her Netflix password.
Well, people
There you
do
go.
that.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're just watching a lot of OPB kids. We are on, I am monitoring YouTube, Whopper Goldstein, and the 4 people that are watching us live
this
on
new?
YouTube. This is new.
We're on
So
YouTube.
you guys are watching Facebook. I got YouTube and Instagram.
straight in the
He
tie.
says, I'm here. Let's begin.
Like the streaming services themselves, we're giving people multiple platforms
Yes.
with
There you
which
go.
to choose.
Little Dragon on Instagram says, I am a Netflix, Amazon, and Hallmark movie girl. And Mama N19 on Instagram says, I like paying for no commercials. That is the nice part.
There you go. Oh, Rob St. Helen. Yeah, I was talking about Comcast, so he says, you mean crap? It's craptastic.
Oof.
You know, actually, I'm Comcast, and I think the service itself from them, I give an A+ to. I pay a lot of money for it, but
What do you mean by the service itself?
Yeah, I mean, it gets to your house, clear.
no, I mean, I have few problems with it. I love the way it's all set up, the on-demand everything.
I like the way when I push
And
the channel, the
when
show
we've
comes
had,
up that's supposed
no,
to.
but in the times when we've had to have somebody come to the house, they've showed up on
Okay.
time, and I mean, we pay a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
And
I
I,
mean,
think
there's
it's
good in
way too
everything,
much.
I suppose.
But
I remember I
sports fan.
called Comcast service and I had some issues. And I specifically told the representative that I did not want what she was pitching because we kind of got off track. And lo and behold, that ended up on my bill. And I was like, are you
Yep.
kidding me? And
That's
they took it
frustrating.
off, of course.
Right, but still, pain in the
But,
neck.
yeah.
Yeah.
I asked Kendra specifically what internet provider she uses. Kendra kindly answers CenturyLink as well, $65 a month, which is also what I pay.
Maybe
I
that's
like
what I pay.
just for internet.
You had
Flipped
the
it,
numbers flipped.
56. Yeah, maybe it's
You're
65.
dyslexic when it comes to your bills.
So I think that's about what I
how I
pay
like
through
to be, huh?
Comcast, about $65 a month for. I mean, I have several things from them, but I think that's about
That just the
what
internet is
cable
that much.
is.
I think
Yeah.
it's pretty comparable, yeah, when you look around. Hey, J.R. Raven on YouTube. He says, she says, good morning, KGW.
What's
With a
up,
kissy
honey?
face. Good morning. Thank you for watching us on
Kisses
YouTube.
to the viewers now.
We are now live monitoring YouTube, I am proud to say. Kirsty Marie on Instagram says, Comcast works for us, but I do wish we could choose what channels we watch. Our daughter plans to just subscribe to Disney Plus.
Wow.
Yeah.
We
Isn't
may
that the-
have to get that one with the old kid.
Isn't that the biggest? I'm going to say to a lot of people, the number one complaint with the Direct or Dish or Comcast, the big providers, is that you get this much. I'm going to say the average person uses that much of
Exactly.
it. And what that viewer was saying.
why you
Is there
only
any
wanna
way I
pay
can
that much.
just not pay this much for all the stuff I
They're
don't
gonna have to do it.
use?
Don't you
Did
think?
you read Jeff
So-
Lucas's? He said, I don't care about movies. I like sports, news, and Jeopardy.
I used to watch
How many
Jeopardy.
loyal Jeopardy viewers?
Yeah, I used to very much enjoy it. We'd sit around, even in college, and like play the game, try to beat one another.
I never know the answers.
Well, you're not supposed
Some
to know
of
all of
them,
them, Brenda.
some
That's
of
what makes it
Great
challenging.
Still, Jeopardy. Oh, look at all these YouTube people. Oh, morning, Brenda. I
good
only
morning.
pay for Netflix. JR says on YouTube.
Wonder why they're finding us if we're so new to
I
the
think
YouTube
they've
stream.
always been there, Drew, and
Oh.
we've never acknowledged
They've been
them
waiting for us.
before. Yes,
You know,
they've
it's-
always been
got it.
waiting,
It's a
so I
good
like it.
point, YouTube, and I've just started telling people this when I talk to them. But one of the things we're doing different as a TV station now is pretty much everything we do, if it's a story like your carpool, ends up on YouTube.
Yeah.
So really, that's becoming a great one-stop shopping place
Right.
for what we do at KGW is our KGW YouTube. It's
Absolutely.
easy to surf and find,
Yeah,
and
the
boom.
thumbnails are all
Investigative
right
pieces,
there.
fun pieces, they're
We've
all
got
there.
breaking news here. Breaking news
Breaking
from one of our
news.
followers.
What?
Her name is Katie. Last name spelled R-I-O-U-X. I pronounce that Ryu.
Rue. Okay.
Ryu.
The breaking news is.
Now get this. Katie says she pays $45 a month for CenturyLink.
Okay.
She calls it CenturyLinks. She has the For Life plan. She actually called them up and referenced this For Life pricing, and they dropped her bill to $45 a month.
I remember when that was a promotion. I do remember that. It's been some time ago
That's
when I remember
they
it.
started it, I think. 'Cause
And
it's
yeah,
fiber
good for
optic.
her. And good for the
CenturyLink.
Good for us. We're going to do, I'm
It's
gonna do
only
this today.
certain neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Not everyone can get it because it is fiber optic.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's only in certain
I
parts
remember
of
that promotion.
They dropped,
Portland,
but she
yeah,
had
I think it was-
She was an existing customer, and they dropped her bill. So I think we could call and throw this at them. I'm going to do that later.
doing it
By
today.
the time this
Thank
is
you.
stream over, because I'm going to call
Thank you.
CenturyLinks.
Exactly. Let's see. Oh, JR says she's been 20 years with KGW. Blowing Sunshine on Instagram. I like your name. Good morning, all. I watch you guys every day. Thank you
Melinda
guys
on
for watching.
Facebook says, order Disney Plus for my granddaughter. She's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
love
I
that
think
when
we're
she
gonna have to
comes
get
to
that
visit
one.
you.
Yeah.
Here's a question, Brenda. as a mom, so you know the premise
Drew?
of Little Mermaid. Well, weigh in.
Let's take a break, Rob.
This is like
Take a mental
kind of
break.
off topic, but so I saw when we were looking at Disney Plus, like Little Mermaid was right up there. It was one of my favorites. I loved all the songs. Now I think back to that story of here this girl is making a deal with Ursula, the octopus woman, to never speak again in order to go on land to marry some dude. And then she can never talk again. And I'm like, that's
messed
crap.
up.
No,
And so
I think to
and
find
so-
a man, boy, that is worth it. Small price to pay.
Broad, of course. But I read an article, Natalie Portman will never let her daughter watch Little Mermaid, and it was some other movie that it was this kind of a similar premise. Because all these movies, you know, it's like princesses and princes, and all the girls want to be with the princes and whatever. But now that I think about it, I'm like, that is total crap.
Yeah, no,
Well-
I do.
Or
I do
is that
agree
like
with
some
you.
new age, like, you know, I didn't
No,
think that
but
as a kid.
I didn't either, but again, that wasn't even part of the conversation when my kids were little.
No,
It was
you
just
just
like
never considered it.
do. No, you didn't.
So like
Now
would you,
looking at
yeah.
it, it's like you're probably not the best message. It's
Right?
fun, but
Yeah. I know.
maybe we do need to update a tad.
They had the
think
same
so.
message in Superman 2, if you recall. Superman
it.
2. Superman.
With Gene Hackman?
No,
He
the one
always
with-
wanted to be with the
with Lois
reporter
Lane.
lady.
Yeah,
Yes.
so they told Superman, Clark Kent, hey, if you want to be with Lois Lane and marry her here on Earth,
Oh, yeah, you have to
Earth,
stop being
you're gonna have to
Superman.
give up your superpowers. And guess what? Superman loved that woman to the point where he gave up his superpowers.
Yeah.
Not a good idea, though, for the rest of the world, because stuff was still happening
Yeah.
out there that needed his
Yeah.
Superman strength, and he wasn't there to save the planet.
for love.
So he got the powers back.
Okay.
He made Lois Lane forget the whole thing ever happened, and then he went back to the diner at the end of the movie. You remember that? And he kicked that guy's butt.
I remember
Who beat
that.
him up when he did not
Yeah.
have the superpower.
That's a good scene.
Superman 2, I think, was better than Superman original.
He's nerding out on the movie. I've just glazed over.
Okay, our second topic today. Thank you for all weighing in.
Yes.
I like that. It's just a
Superman
question I
3
had.
tomorrow.
That's our second topic today, right now.
Exactly.
Superman 3. Was Richard Pryor a good idea?
Nina,
to bring
please
into
come
the
up with
franchise?
something.
I know.
Our
Oh,
encyclopedic-
Morphman on YouTube says hello from Lake Oswego, Brenda and Drew.
Hey,
Not to
good
us.
morning.
Wow.
And Nina and Rod.
Oh, no, I don't think they said
Okay,
that, Brenda.
our second topic. Yeah, you did not mention
I'm just going to quote the
Okay,
viewers.
we still love you. Okay, you had a fabulous story, really insightful with the Portland Police Chief, Daniel Outlaw.
Yes.
Are you
Good
okay?
story. Yes, fine. But someone does say on here, Heather Fields says that you're not going to be able to do this nonsense you're doing right now. That is using your mom's Netflix password much longer.
She knows it. She had granted me permission.
They're already scanning.
Oh,
they're
yes,
already
you're
scanning
right.
accounts for that. They announced it in June
Oh.
and tagged my mom less than a month after that. You're in trouble. Sorry, Chief
Trouble.
Outlaw. Great story today. Chief Outlaw. Let's talk
Now
about
I'm really worried about it.
Yes.
Yeah, you did Kgw Carpool, which was, if you guys haven't seen it, it's this awesome format where Brenda literally picks up somebody that you probably know or love in our metro area, and your tagline is like the best conversations happen in cars.
Yeah,
right?
we just get in, you're right there, can't escape me.
Yeah.
And we just, travel around. Sometimes we go to places that are meaningful to them. Sometimes we just drive and we chat.
Yeah, take a look.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I am good. Look,
Am I
look,
going to hug
shake,
you? Am I
hug.
going to hug you?
Nope, all good.
We're off to a good start.
Yes.
It's kind of cool to see you in irregular clothes.
This is me all the time, though. So that's what trips me out. I don't know. I guess it's because folks associate me with work more than anything else. But it's like, I'm not at work all the time, am I? And
Are
then you
you?
think about that, it's like, I might be. I just might be.
So what's your morning routine usually?
Sleep as long as I can and hit snooze about good 5, 6, 7 times. I just value every little extra minute that I have because I've been waking up early for so long, for so many years.
So your boys are both away at college?
Yeah, they're both in school.
If you had to describe your parenting style, what would it be?
I'm strict and I'm firm when I need to be, but they know. It's done with love. My grandmother was the matriarch of the family, and she was no joke. No joke. So who knew? And I thought she was kind of mean when I was coming up. And then I guess I turned into her a little bit. I don't know.
You told me that to really relax, sometimes you have to just leave the city. You
I
get
do.
out.
I do.
So I'm taking you out of the city.
Oh no, look. We on the run. I like it. I like it. Okay.
So what's your perfect way to unwind?
I love to cook, so for me, it would be having a small group of people over. And I've already gone to the store and I just make a whole spread. I might sip on a little something while I'm doing it. I'll have, you know, my music on in the background and just hang out and chill. I really, really enjoy doing that.
What music do you love? Who are you listening to?
I'm big into neo soul. I'm still a huge fan of 90s R&B. Always will be. So it might even be gospel, depending on what I'm going through. If I'm just trying to get my mind right for the day on my way to work, usually it's gospel. But if I know it's a day I got to put my face on because I know somebody's trying to come for me and I have to spend a day of, you know, being on the defense, it might be Tupac. I mean, it just,
Oh, wow.
seriously. When I was touted as the first African-American female police chief, that carried a lot of, it means something, right? It absolutely means something. But initially, it can work, or it did work against me, because now you got people saying I got the job because I'm an African-American female, as opposed to my qualifications. And the reality is that I had to spend more time showing why, or having to prove why I'm qualified or competent, instead of just coming into the job and doing my job like other folks that don't look like me get to do all the time. They get the benefit of the doubt. I had never been referred to as a diversity hire in my life until I got here.
You said that you have a 3-year contract, so you're almost at the end of that. You've got another year, right?
Right.
As I calculate. Do you think you're still going to be here?
Once the contract is up, there's no protections. So you really have to make a decision, you know, do I just kind of continue to do this extremely risky work without a net? Or, you know, do I move on to the next thing because I'm burnt out, which I'm not yet? You know, it just really depends on what I'm dealing with at the time. Or do you leave when you're on top? Because you know the lifespan of a police chief really is nowadays very short.
What is the answer to that question?
I don't know.
Have you come to one yet?
No, I mean, I'm at some point you're gonna have to start thinking about it, but I'm not burnt out. I'm not, you know, out there interviewing. Yes, people call me, but it really depends on what I want my next step to be.
Yeah.
I think the thing that really surprised me about Chief Outlaw was how candid she was. I am used to public officials dodging questions from journalists, not just speaking their mind and saying what they want to say.
Yes.
And that's what I felt I got when I sat down and talked to her. She kind of startled me, actually, because I'm just not used to that.
Yeah.
Well, that's just like that last question about her future with that position. I don't know, maybe she didn't read the handbook. How you're supposed to answer that is like, well, I'm going to do this job to the best of my ability for as long as I'm doing this job, and we'll see what happens down the road. That's how most people would answer that question. But she was very, you know, upfront about it. Like, we'll have to see. You know, contract's up soon. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I can't believe that she actually said, you know, people are calling. Like, I would love to just, you know, I don't know how the guts to say that to my boss. Just, hey, by the way, just so you know, other stations are, I know it's leverage, but you don't really play that leverage card unless you feel like you have to or you're ready to go, actually.
So that was about 4 minutes. We spent 2 hours together on the ride, and then I boiled that down to a little shy of 15 minutes, and that's what you can see on YouTube and all our social platforms. But after I looked at that interview, you know, multiple times, I sent her like 4 questions. And we ended up talking on the phone because I wanted to follow up, because I was listening to some of the things that she said about race and culture and acclimating to Portland from Oakland. And I said, do you think that anything that you've said will ruffle feathers here in the Rose City? And are you concerned about that? And she said, you know, I didn't even... that didn't even cross my mind. She said, I don't think in those terms, and I don't walk on eggshells. She said, this is my lived experience, and this is my truth. And she really does feel that by sharing stories that people learn, and it's an opportunity for that. And I do think, especially when it comes to the topic of race, that's why that conversation is about 15 minutes long. I didn't want to edit her. I wanted her to be able to say how she viewed this. And that was my intention going in. I didn't want to relitigate all the controversies with the police department, and there are many, and they are valid. But I didn't want to go there. I wanted to hear something new from her. And I feel like that was mission accomplished after that ride.
It's really interesting listening to that extended version because, like I was telling you, I came away with the theme of, at one point she talks about, you know, of course she is the first Black female police chief that this city has had, and in some ways we as Portlanders and or as Northwesterners and Oregonians, like, we are very naive in a lot of ways when it comes to racial issues. And just being a Black woman in Portland, you know, like, she is experiencing all of these things as the first person to do that. And that is so much pressure. You know, what an honor also, but so much pressure because everyone, you're the example, basically, you know?
Exactly.
And she kind of talks about that, and she used the word, like, I guess, a novelty here. And it's just, to me, like almost holding up a mirror to ourselves as Northwesterners and Oregonians and Portlanders of, you know, things that even if we have the best intentions and like curiosities, she was telling you a story of like, oh, it's going to start raining here soon, and I'm going to twist my hair and do it differently. And people, when they come meet her, like, kind of just stupidly, instinctively, like, oh, I want to touch your hair, and
because they haven't seen it before. So that was the example she gave me. She said, I can see people come, and she was hilarious because, I mean, it's not funny, but it is funny. She goes, I see them coming. It's like they're going to pat me on my head. And she goes, I did this Matrix kind of thing where I was trying to politely say, this is not going to happen. And that's born out of I don't know. It's what do I want to say? People are curious, they're fascinated, but she said the fascination can become offensive. That's your personal space. I wouldn't put hands on you when I don't know you. But I do think that people mean well, but it doesn't always translate.
But it's fascinating that she is able to just say that, you know, and I love that about her.
Yeah.
So I think it's a tough position, right? Because mostly in that position, we say that person either failed or we don't say anything. It's like the police chief of Portland. I just feel like that's a position where you go, oh, they messed up that job. They stunk at that job. They weren't any good at that job. Very rarely do we go, man, that guy was or that woman was a great chief of police. So far, she's been at the job for 2 years. I can't really think of any firestorms that she's had to dodge or get out of the way of. I mean, she's doing the job.
Personally,
kind of under the radar, getting the job done without any controversy to this point, without a whole lot of backlash.
There's been a lot of department controversy with how we handle Antifa and protest. I mean, it's not her personally.
No, that's been a problem that police chiefs have had to deal with for years.
Yes.
It hasn't been her problem. It's been a problem for that department, and it's been a problem for that position for years. But I don't think she's mishandled all that stuff at all since she's been in that role.
And you know, I mean, now the fire chief is a Black woman as well.
Like Sarah Boone.
You know, and one of our city council members, Joanne Hardesty, and it's a very historic time. But boy, it's got to be just, you are it, you know?
Yeah, and she comes from Oakland, which has a much larger African-American population. So I think she grew up there, she grew up in the department, they know her, she knows the community. So she said I could just, you know, go around in my flip-flops, hoodie, sweats, and it was no big deal. Here it's a little bit different. So she's acclimating, but she is wicked smart, and again, I appreciate the candor. I think if you can talk about it, then things can improve.
Yeah. We got almost to go, but Mama N on Instagram says she is genuine. Little Dragon says, I would love to see Brenda interview Nina and her coworkers someday. Brenda is very good. And yes, you can watch that whole great interview with Chief Danielle Outlaw on our YouTube page and kgw.com. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.